on set. Places, everybody. And action.
Hello, listeners, to the Hooked on Movies podcast. In honor of the 5-year anniversary, the guys have decided to do things a little bit different today. In honor of this occasion, we will be rewatching One-on-One and Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Who's hijacked our podcast?
I don't know.
Welcome your replacement.
Yay!
Well, listeners should not be so foreign. If you've been tuning in, you know my name is Justin. I'm the biggest fan of this show, and they
The
have
only
asked me
fan
to
of this
come on.
show.
I have been on a couple episodes as we were talking about, but I think it's fair to say I'm actually the biggest fan of the show. And knowing that I have probably listened to every episode, Ken asked me to interview him, Eric, and Ted about their experience on 5 years of this podcast. But first, the introductions. So if this is your first time listening to the show, welcome to the Hooked on Movies podcast. Your normal hosts, Ken,
These go to 11.
Ted,
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
and Eric.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
And we each pick a movie to watch, and then they talk about the movie. The format has changed a little bit over the years, but normally we talk about the particulars, the opening, the build, and then does it stick the landing. And at the end, they give a personalized review of the film on a 1 to 5 hook basis. So, the ever-coveted 5 hooks. So that brings us to the Hooked on Movies. Now, gentlemen, I do have a question that I'm sure a lot of the listeners who have been here from the beginning wanted to ask. Originally, the podcast was called The Movie Marquee. Why the name change?
Actually, we had a name change before that. So we were actually called the Drive-In Double Feature.
Then, okay, and the new
Yeah.
originals.
So the reason for the first name change was because found another podcast that had a similar name. So we just didn't want to have that. And then the second one, we were strong-armed by Ted for the marquee name. And then we just felt like we just needed something different. And we went with Hooked on Movies because it just sounded like what we were doing.
Yeah, it's got a hook, and you guys have that nice logo with the shark and all that, and the hooks in the water. So that's pretty cool. Your first episode that you published was Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous. Has anything that you've discussed on the show changed how you view this particular film since it was your first?
Actually, out of all the films, I would say no. This one
Really?
is the one we actually, I thought, did like an amazing job of. I actually
Yeah.
think that we really dug deep into this movie. The only reason why I'd want to do it again is just because I love the movie so much. I would love to talk about it some more.
That's an interesting concept, going back kind of and just seeing like what's changed in 5 years. Is it anything that's different? Maybe that's not the right movie, because if you feel the same way that you do now, that might not be the answer. I mean, just listening to it, I listened to it again today, and it really holds up. There's a couple things that are like clearly different and all that, but I mean, you guys are on point, and it sounds great still. So like the sound quality and all that. So I would recommend it as a great place to start if you're a new listener.
And it's also celebrating an anniversary this year. What is it? Is it 25 years?
It'd be 25 years, yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
25.
believe that.
I have the soundtrack to that one. I love,
Oh, yeah.
I remember like where I was when I first got it and all that. And, the song The Wind by, at the time, Cat Stevens. I think now it's like Yusef.
Yusef
but-
Islam, yeah.
Yeah, I just love it. It's so good.
Yeah, no, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Literally. I know Ken
Yeah.
gives me crap because all my movies are my favorite of all time. But
Yeah.
it really, it truly is. And if memory serves me correct, I had a lot of emotion with that because it combines the two things that I love the most. It combines music and movies, and especially that era of music where music was so transformative at that time, and you really get a look into a lot of how a lot of bands became famous right at that time. I think the story sticks. I think it's probably Cameron Crowe's best movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. The internet said singles. Moving on. No.
Well, the internet is wrong.
One
Yes.
thing I'll add about that movie is when they're singing Tiny Dancer, I think that is the scene that kind of like relates to all of us. We're watching a movie and watching a sing along, and it's like the perfect marriage of watching the movie and enjoying music. It's just amazing, that scene.
You guys kind of touched upon this in the latest episode, which was fantastic, by the way, on the Sting. And I think when we have those really good episodes, it's you all kind of get really emotionally invested. And I know I've joked before about like my favorite part of the show is when you guys argue about stuff, but really it's when you have that emotional connection and you're all just kind of firing on that level. And the Sting had that. And you were talking about, and I forget who it was, but one of you was saying on how it was like a complete escape. You could just watch it and escape. And I think of that with that scene where it's like, oh yeah, they're on the plane or they're on the bus and they're singing Tiny Dancer, and it's like the world just kind of washes over you, and you're like, I'm just in this moment.
Yeah.
So
I
agree with you.
I agree with Ken a lot on that scene. It's an amazing scene, one of the best cinematic scenes that I like a lot. But the thing that hooked me the most, and no pun intended, with that movie was the airplane scene. And I know that they have to interject a little bit of comedy into that scene because it is so intense. But the thing that got me about that scene is because of what I had known about Leonard Skinner. To listen to those men talk about what that was like on that plane. That's, to me, I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's also like an idea of like a mediocrity sort of breaking through to that next level.
Mhm.
It's really analogous to like another podcast sort of thing too, where it's like, oh, we're trying to do this and get up there, and like, what does it take to get up there? So, like there's those aspects that are like direct translations to what you do too. So, yeah.
I love it when Penny says, "You are home." I think that fits what everybody wants. They want to be part of something, and he finally got to be a part of something. And I think that's what this podcast is about, is being part of something. Three friends getting together and doing a podcast together. We don't always want to do the podcast. Well, maybe Ted always wants to do the podcast, but we don't always get along. Full Metal Jacket.
Digstown.
Yeah, I mean, there's been episodes where I got up and I walked away because we got into a heated argument of a movie.
I know.
But that's what you do,
Was
though.
it
That's what
the
friends do.
episode on the Crow where you were completely wrong?
I've never been more right, Justin.
That's just my
I've never been more right about a movie in my life.
No, it's interesting too because and I mean we'll talk about this. There's definitely those conflicting opinions and things like that, which really drives the show. And as a listener, that's something I really appreciate. And I've said this before. It's like one thing that I appreciate is that Eric is usually quiet for a good portion of the show. He'll introduce the show, and then he gets quiet, and then he comes back, and you're like, what's he going to say? What's he going to say? Because we've got like all these deep discussions going on where it's like, Ted saying, oh, I like this, and this is the political, what's going on in America at the time, and you got to understand that. And then, Ken's like, oh, yeah, this is what was on cable in the 80s. And, this is when, I used to like this, but I really wanted more backstory on that one person that walked into the scene. And then Eric comes in with something completely like different. So you guys have like all these sort of like converging opinions.
And now for something completely different.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that's really enjoyable about it for me.
The one thing about this movie that I don't remember why we picked this movie to start off with, to be honest with you, but one of the things over the 5 years, people I talk about the podcast, many have asked us, who haven't listened, what's the first movie you did? And I told them Almost Famous. They go, oh man, I love that movie. That movie's awesome. I have never met anyone who has said anything bad about Almost Famous. So that is just a great movie to kick it off with. It's a movie that, in my opinion, everyone knows, and I think everyone likes. I've yet to meet anyone who hasn't.
That's a really good point, and I guess that's really a great way to kick it off and all that. And I mean, I feel like you probably couldn't go wrong with your recent one. You guys just hit 150 episodes. I think you're a little bit over that. The last three, I was telling you about this: Happy Gilmore, The Sting, most recently, and then Monty Python and the Holy Grail right before that. I mean, those three were like bang, 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 just fantastic. Like I loved it, and like I said, for The Sting, you guys were absolutely locked in. It was really a pleasure to listen to. I feel like The Sting would be one of those movies like Almost Famous, which is kind of like, it's perennial and everyone can agree on it. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think I made how I felt about The Sting pretty evident in the episode, that I felt that pretty much every major successful heist movie since The Sting is based in some part off of The Sting. If it doesn't encapsulate some aspect of having that energy, it's not successful, and I don't really care for it. I feel the same way about Almost Famous. I mean, there's a lot of music movies out there, but there's something about Almost Famous that, for me personally, that era of from like 1971 to like 1975 is really magical for me as far as music goes, especially rock and roll and American rock and roll. At that time, you have the Eagles coming up. You have Led Zeppelin is conquering the West and has exploded into becoming one of the greatest bands of all time. There's just something about that era that's so packed full of history. And those characters, each one of those characters is so unique in a way that encapsulates that era. And that's what it really does for me.
Your guys' format has changed significantly over the years. At first you started, it was based on a particular director. So if we stick with Cameron Crowe, right? Does it make it harder for you guys to review a film because you're comparing it to the same director's other work? Like whether it's Say Anything or Singles, something like that, or Almost Famous. Is that a harder thing because now you're holding it up on a higher pedestal?
Not with directors, but with actors, it started becoming the same old, same old. If we did the same actor, or if we did a movie franchise, like, for instance, Rocky or Lethal Weapon. By the time we got to Lethal Weapon 4, the guys were just done. They didn't want to even bother doing another Lethal Weapon.
One that I made light of was Beverly Hills Cop 3. I think that after listening to that episode and all that, I'm like, you know what, you guys probably could have just put two of them in one and then done Axel F, because that one was awesome. I thought that was so much fun. But it's nobody wants to be here.
10 times the movie Beverly Hills Cop 3 is.
I think it's important to do something like Beverly Hills Cop 3 because it elevates Beverly Hills Cop 4. I mean, let's be honest. If it goes from Beverly Hills Cop 1 to, let's say, Axel Foley without the two in between, we're going to say, this movie's shit. This movie's no good because it's nowhere near as good as the first one, right? It's not even Happy Gilmore 2 comparable, in my opinion. But you have 2 and 3 because then that sets up 4 to do as well as it did.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and it's your guys' format and your guys' show, so you can do it any way that you see fit. So
doing the directors was a good thing, and it is interesting because some directors don't have that down, or we'd found that they didn't have that down. But as Ken found, he doesn't care for some of the stuff that Kevin Smith did later.
Yeah, but who knew Sidney Pollack would have some absolute great hits, right?
Right.
I did.
Yeah,
Eric did.
And hey guys, check out Tootsie. You're well, yeah.
Well, I knew about Tootsie, but what was the movie that I didn't know about?
3 Days of the Condor.
3 Days of the Condor.
3 Days of the Condor. Yeah.
It comes up often.
One of the most awkward scenes of all time, that love scene with the porn music in the background. So
it's very interesting.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there a movie that each of you were least excited to do, but then maybe surprised when you saw it?
Probably 2001 for me, because I had seen it when I was younger and I was bored to tears of it. And I think getting a little bit older and having a little bit bigger palette for movies, I think I was able to appreciate it more. I still didn't give it a really great grade at that time, but it's one of those
You've
movies
talked about it since, though.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that I think having a good discussion about it as well. I mean, I would still cut out the first 20 minutes of that film. But outside of that, I mean, I'm sorry, Ted, that first 20 minutes is a snooze fest. I mean, there's probably a lot of people that have probably not finished that movie because they probably watched that scene and just couldn't get through it.
And I mean, that's a pacing thing too, but it's with certain directors, probably like Kubrick, it's his hallmark. It's we talk about Cubic Stare and, these long shots that he has and things. So it's yeah, that's good. What about you guys? Is there a movie that you were really not excited to cover that maybe you changed your mind on? Or just a movie you're not excited to cover?
Well, that's how much time do you got, Justin?
I've
You
seen
know,
Eric's answer,
you know,
and it's a
for-
trilogy.
no, actually, it's not a trilogy, believe it or not. With Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was brutal. That was brutal. A movie that actually I've seen in the past, and it kind of went to the side for me. It's just a movie that I had no interest in. But then when I watched it, I really, really enjoyed it and have watched it again since. And it's Ken's favorite movie of all time,
Casablanca.
Casablanca. When he told me we were going to do Casablanca, I'm like, ooh,
Who's
okay.
best?
I'm not a real Humphrey Bogart fan. Yeah, I know it's right up there with the greatest movies of all time. But I was like, yeah, whatever. But then I watched it, and I watched it a couple times. I'm like, all right, I know, thank you. There we go. If only we had video, you would see what Ken was doing with Humphrey Bogart's head right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this is a family show, so we must continue. That one for me really was a surprise. That I was like, you know what? I really should have taken this movie more seriously for its plot, its acting, its quality earlier on. I'm really glad we did that movie, and was remotely surprised that it was Ken's favorite of all time, to be honest with you.
It's funny that you say it in that way too, because listening back to the Taxi Driver episode, that was Ken's reaction to Taxi Driver. It's like it was kind of like, oh wow, this is kind of jarring, because that's like a heavy film, and to see it, it's like, wow, this is shot so well. This is this.
Yeah.
You're raving about like the technical aspects of this.
Mhm.
So, and was there anything like that specifically, other than the acting, Eric, that you really liked about the film?
Actually, the acting wasn't that great. Humphrey Bogart is just really just a giant puppet, in my opinion. He doesn't really do much. He's the same person in every movie.
Well,
But
We're No Angels. He's pretty
But
different.
there you go. You put him in this movie, though, and you put the cast around him. It was the perfect role for him, in my opinion. He really stood out. The supporting cast was incredible. I'm a really big fan of visual effects, scenery, stuff to that effect, and I really appreciated, the character of the movie and the scenery of the movie for, what was it, 1943, 42?
39?
No.
41 is, I think,
Yeah,
what the rating
yeah.
for.
I think it's 41.
Really surprising. I'm really glad we did that one. No, there's a bunch of movies that, oh my good, Assassins.
Yeah, I left that one out of this review. So
God, I could
did
go
see it
through
on there, though.
4 or 5
Yeah,
on the
you
top
still
of my
don't-
head.
You still don't like that one.
No, that's what I'm saying. He asked me movies that I think sucked. And I know, the big one, and for me, I'm the only person on earth who hates this movie, but Elf. I hate Elf. I hate Elf. I hate Elf more than Lord of the Rings. That's how much I hate Elf.
That is fair. So
So
what about you, Ted? Do you want to bring us home with
yeah,
what was one that kind of you changed your mind on, maybe, or that you're really not excited about?
well, I had to keep an open mind because it was Eric's turn, and he brought us to 3 Days of the Condor and to The Way We Were and Jeremiah Johnson.
Sidney
And-
Pollack films is pretty much what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I knew who Sidney Pollack was, but I had never really sat down and watched those particular movies before. And I enjoyed all 3 of them tremendously. And that's one of the things that I've come out of the podcast that I appreciate the most is having been not forced, but to watch movies that I wouldn't have watched before.
Coerced. But that's the best part of the podcast.
Yes.
Is seeing something you've never seen
And-
before with virgin eyes and ears.
And that's what I really appreciate about, because Ken and I have similar tastes in movies, but I really appreciate Eric bringing those movies to my viewing pleasure, because they really were, and I think they're great movies, and I probably saw a couple of those I probably would never have watched, but I'm grateful that I watch them, and I own a couple of them now.
Mm-hmm. And that's a hard one to find too. The 3 Days of the Condor. It's not in print
Yeah.
anymore, so it's
Good luck.
difficult to come by. So, and you guys have covered a lot of these that are difficult to come by.
And I would say this: I didn't know Jeremiah Johnson was the name for Wolverine. I didn't know that was
It's still
the
beating
original
that drum.
origin story.
It's really the guy from the meme at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy because Robert Redford all of a sudden looks like Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It's weird.
So I know the answer because I asked Ken this, but maybe you guys know. What has been your most popular episode? Like the most listened to episode that you have?
Wow.
Well, Ken's the stats guy, so he
He knows.
He knows.
Ken
I'm
has
just curious.
that.
Do you guys have an idea which
Ken
episode it would
told
be?
us, I think, a couple episodes ago.
I think it's a Kubrick film, isn't it?
No,
Almost
it's
Famous.
not.
It's
No,
not
I don't
Jeremiah
know.
Johnson, but I know it's pretty well
Yeah.
up there.
That is up there. So yeah, that's
One's
a
an
re-
earlier
that's a
film
re-list.
that we did. One's a film that I already mentioned.
Casablanca.
This
Nope.
is a Tarantino film.
Once Upon a Time.
It is. Yes.
Once
Once
Upon a Time is
in
one of
Hollywood.
them.
My
is the most
pick.
Popular episode.
Yes.
And then the other one was 2001.
2000.
And that was
Once
now,
Upon a Time in Hollywood is a top 5 movie for me. I love that movie so
it's
much.
It's a great film.
Love
I
it.
love it very much.
I love everything Tarantino, though. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: which one is your least popular episode? And it may be because this one is somewhat newer, but do you guys have an idea on which one is the least listened to episode?
Is it that Christmas movie you made us watch, Ted?
Which one?
Surprisingly, it's not.
Are you thinking of the Halloween movie that I made you watch?
No.
The Exorcism
No, the
of
Christmas
Emily
movie.
Rose?
No, it's a newer one that just came out like the month or year we did it. I'd never heard of it.
Or the Broken Hearts Gallery?
Broken Hearts Gallery, yeah.
That's actually
a great
that's
episode,
our
guys.
second least.
Yeah.
listened
Is
to
it
episode.
really? Because that was a good episode.
No one
I
knows the
like
movie.
that movie.
Yeah.
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 The
I
number
just think-
number one is actually just say her name, Julia Roberts.
Brockovich?
It is
Yeah.
Aaron Brockovich. That
It's
is
Aaron,
the least
really?
listened to
God,
episode.
People suck.
Aaron
You know,
Brockovich
honestly, it's
is
a
a
great
good
episode.
movie.
I don't know what the holdup is. People should get out there and listen to it. If you're listening to this, go back and listen to that one.
Yeah.
Get those numbers up there.
To be honest with you, when it comes to movies, and we're kind of talking this off air about like rock star movies like Bohemian Rhapsody and Rocketman.
The movie Rockstar.
Yeah, I think when you do a movie that's based on true events, people love it at the moment, but don't go back to it after that. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, nice to hear a story like that once, but is it something that you put on for entertainment? Probably not. And I think that's maybe why that movie didn't get as many listens to. Broken Hearts Gallery, well, on the other hand, is a fun comedy. I just think it came out around COVID time and
Yeah.
No one
and
knew
just-
it.
Nobody even.
People missed it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the benefits of doing a show like this is you can spotlight something like that and say, hey, maybe this one deserves a look. Yeah, I'm with you. I thought that was a good episode. I have a question for you, Ken. This is going to be one of the questions I just throw out. Is there such a thing as too much backstory in a film?
I've never seen a movie that's given me too much backstory.
What about the
I-
movie backstory?
The movie backstory. Yeah, I'm a big fan of having a backstory, but backstory is only to kind of to move the plot along. If I don't know enough about what leads up to what we're watching, then I get a little like, well, then this doesn't make sense. You could probably have too much backstory, but I've really never seen it. I've seen too many, not enough.
That's fair. So that's why that's one of the hallmarks of the show is usually you're like, this guy that just came on screen, I'd like to see more of what's going on with him, or I'd like to know the relationship with their wife. And it's absolutely a valid thought. I think it's come up a lot, surprisingly a lot in Terry Garr movies that you guys have done. You guys have covered two actors and actresses the most, Robert Redford and Terry Garr.
You're welcome.
So, I don't know if this was completely
Too bad they
intentional or
weren't in the
anything.
same movie together. That would have been awesome, right?
Yeah, right. It's just funny because it's like I think you've literally hit almost all of Terry Garr's work, and I think
Think
you were
so.
just talking about in the Sting episode. You're missing what, like 4 or 5 Robert Redford movies, and you've got them all.
Yeah.
The later stuff he did.
Yeah, some of the old stuff. So yeah, well,
Robert Redford is
hooked on
Robert
Redford,
Redford's done on purpose though, because of Eric, because that's his
Yeah,
favorite
That's
guy.
his favorite
which
guy.
is fine.
But Terry Garr, it's just kind of the luck of the draw of what we've picked, and she just happens to be in movies that we love.
She's a great
Yeah.
supporting actress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's going to show up in some of my favorite episodes too, I think, of the show. My question for you, Eric, do you think a movie has to have Richard Dreyfuss in it to be a good movie?
Now, I think you're talking about Ken on that one. Is this because
I don't know.
my 2 favorite movies of all time are Richard Dreyfuss?
I think so. It's
Jaws and Close Encounters.
Yep. So that's kind of why I was thinking about you.
Actually, that's not the case because I was not fond of Dr. Holland's Opus.
Mr. Holland's,
Mr. Holland's Opus. I did not like that movie very well. So, no.
I
To answer that
am of
question, no.
same vein. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm of the same vein with you on that one. It's not my favorite of his work, so it's not as bad as the recent one he did with Chevy Chase, which was god awful. But yeah, so okay. All right, asked and answered. That's very fair. Ted,
Yes.
since you have covered all of the remaining Star Wars movies this year, when you guys covered. You covered Rogue One. That was the last one. Will we be seeing the Battle for Endor next May?
Actually, we'll probably be doing Solo next May.
Oh, you do Solo.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
It's the Solo movie left.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think the Battle for Endor is going to make the cut. I think that
It's got the Ewoks.
it does have Ewoks, Ken's favorite addition to the Star Wars universe.
My favorite meat.
Yeah, your favorite meat.
The
Outside
Stormtrooper.
of that and Porg. So yeah, I'm an unapologetic Star Wars guy. But I believe that, with Star Wars, I was honest in how I feel about the Star Wars movies. I didn't cut them any slack, I didn't think. I actually probably was a little harsher on some of the Star Wars movies
No.
than
He says no.
And which one would that be, Ted? I'm curious of
Attack-
your
Attack-
harshness.
Attack of the
Attack
Clones,
of the
for
Clones.
sure.
yeah,
I will
Attack of the
say
Clones.
this: out of all the ones that I've listened to, I feel like you changed my mind on the Phantom Menace. I thought that was the worst going into it. Listening to your discussion about the Phantom Menace, I don't think that's the worst one anymore.
Now it's Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that you
it
absolutely
is.
changed my mind on that.
It's definitely Attack of the Clones.
Ted
There
still give
are-
a 5 hook.
Yeah, there are.
No.
No, it was not. I
It
believe
was
that
3.5 hooks, I believe, if I remember.
I believe it's probably 3.5 or 3.25, because
I wish I wrote down which one you
It
gave a
was-
half a hook to. I don't remember that one. But
it was probably Assassins.
Assassins.
But I'm honest about my love of Star Wars, and it's a childhood thing, and I also know when it's not good. It doesn't live up to my expectations, and
You gave it 3.5 hooks. What do you mean you did not good? That means a good movie.
It's because it's still Star Wars, and for me, Star Wars is,
That sounds biased to me then.
well, then it probably is in a way. I am honest in my bias, so
that is also true. Is there a film that you haven't covered that you would do a review for now, but you wouldn't necessarily cover on the podcast? And I'll give you an example. Something that maybe wouldn't fit the format, like a miniseries, like Stephen King's It miniseries from the 90s. Something that doesn't quite fit in as like a movie. Is there something like that you would do a review on?
You mean like a made-for-TV kind of thing?
Well, it could be anything. It could be something where it was like, oh, I really liked Storm of the Century by Stephen King, but it's kind of like a miniseries, so it doesn't fit, or like V, or I don't know, anything.
So the one I have is because I already know the guys already said no to this, and it would be like Charlie Chaplin movies.
Yeah.
I like the silent films. I think they have a lot to present to themselves. Now the guys have said now we can do like a Charlie Chaplin episode, but we're not going to do his movies. Like we're not going to do one of his movies, or Buster Keaton one of his movies. They're the ones that ushered in movie making. Some of the tricks that they did back in the day are just incredible. I mean, this is before you had special effects, really, right? But we don't do them because we just feel like, who's going to listen to that listens to our podcast on a regular basis?
We have our hot buttons. We all have our, if you do this, I'm going to counter with this. For Ted, it's any John Wayne movie. For me, it is the Harry Potter movies. I have never, ever seen a Harry Potter movie in my life, and I'm quite proud of that. And I don't know, what's yours, Ken? What's your hot button?
I don't have. I'll
The
review
movie
pretty much
Showgirls
anything.
from 1995.
Showgirls, God, yeah, we should do that just for fun, just for shipples.
What would it be? So, I mean, we know what they don't want to do. What would you not want to do, Ken?
I pretty much would be pretty much willing to do anything because I like all genres of movies. The only thing I probably wouldn't do is a foreign language film.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
So-
that's
Which is
fair.
why we haven't done Parasite.
Which is why we haven't done Parasite.
Okay, Parasite's a great movie.
It's one of the best movies.
So
of the last
subtitle
10
movies
years.
is not your thing.
Yeah, subtitle movies are just
Yeah, there you
not
go.
my bag, baby.
So the running joke is that I would make him watch Barry Lyndon. But if like a made-for-TV thing, you know what would be fun to do, just because we could lampoon it, would be the 90s The Stand miniseries. Because it's so bad. It is, I mean, it's awful. But yeah, the Barry Lyndon thing, I mean...
I wanted to like that movie so much. I got through about an hour of it. Remember that, Ted?
Yes.
I got through an hour of it and I said, I can't.
You
I
can't.
can't do this. It's shot with
we came close to
candlelight.
doing it.
I know
Yeah,
it is.
there's
It
so
is
many...
a cinematography.
Cinematography?
The cinematography on that was revolutionary. I get it. I just couldn't do it.
It's...
We came close to doing it, though. We
came close. We came close. I think I even brought it up in the Sting episode.
You did.
If only Robert Redford had been there, I think it would be.
I don't know if that would have saved it. I don't know if Ryan O'Neal's acting is what bored Eric to tears.
I knew exactly who you're talking about.
Ryan O'Neal.
As I usually say for bad movies, even hardcore nudity couldn't help this movie.
And
exactly.
It kind of did a couple of times.
Well, yeah, a little bit, but I didn't get to
that's
that point,
that's a
unfortunately.
Kubrick staple.
Yeah.
There's several movies that I have relied on your show to cover that I know I'm never going to watch myself, which is kind of like against like what you guys were talking about. It's like, oh, I get a chance to see something I was going to get out of it. But there's just some movies that I'm just never going to watch.
So Justin, you listen to the podcast on movies you've never seen.
I do. So the way we were, never going to watch the movie. I don't need to. Like everything that I need to know about this movie, I know from listening to the podcast. It's fine.
You're welcome.
You know,
you don't have to watch it.
100%. And it's not an indictment of the film or anything else like that, but it's like, I don't feel like there's any more of an ember for me. And I'm like, oh, cool. No, it's good. It's like, I've got all the good moments. You know, there's this. They see each other at the end. Cool. You know, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm never going to watch it. I don't really care. It's not my thing. So what do you say to listeners that have no need to see a film that you guys have already covered? Like, are they missing out, or is it something, are you guys okay with that? Like, what's your feeling on kind of what I just said about it?
I assume that, and maybe I'm making that assumption wrong, that everyone at least has seen the movie before they have listened to the podcast. There are other podcasts I listen to. If they have a movie that I have not watched, I'm not listening to that podcast until or if I ever watch that movie. I appreciate your candor and your honesty and your compliments there, as you know, for the way we were, for example, that you feel you don't need to see it because we did such a great job describing it to you and going through the plot. You feel like you've already watched it just listening to us. But I feel you're missing out. I really do feel you're missing out with not seeing the movie, because you can actually, by not seeing the movie, when we're talking about it, you're not really physically seeing the scene in your head. You're seeing a scene, but you're not seeing it on film and how we're describing it or why we're talking about that specific scene or about the plot twist or anything, the cinematography, whatever. I think you're doing yourself a disjustice by not seeing.
And to add on to that, I would say movies hit everybody differently. And at different moments in their life, you know, you could have had a hard day at work or broke up with your girlfriend, or, you know, your mistress, you know, left you. I mean,
these things happen.
These things happen. But you're sitting in the movie, you're sitting and watching the movie, and a scene comes along and it just hits you like out of nowhere. Some of the best movies I've ever watched were at 3:00 in the morning. And, you know, my mind is in a different headspace than it would be if I probably watched it like at a normal time.
See, I watched Master and Commander like that, and I was absolutely enthralled, and I'm like, is this just because it's 3 a.m. and I'm up watching this movie?
Yes, it is. It is.
Actually, it's a good movie, but at the same time, there's just something that's special. Like some of the movies that we've done, like PCU, that's a movie that I would come home from going out at the bars and then sit down and, you know, eat whatever and watch a movie that's late at 3:00 in the morning, and it's PCU, and I'm like, this is awesome.
I was so happy you guys covered that in Real Genius. I can't even, you know, and neither of which made it to my top 10 list, but it's because you talk about like,
there we go. He said it.
I love Real Genius.
Yeah, now you've opened it. Now go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, these two do not like that movie.
No, they didn't.
I didn't.
That's fine.
I am surprised at the backlash and the listens we got on that movie.
Second most listened to movie this year. episode.
It's not even
beloved.
close to Val Kilmer's genius.
It was always on the Disney Channel in the early 90s. There was that, and you can't
That
find
doesn't
Me
make it right.
I'm just saying.
I remember
it makes
the
it
Black
available.
Hole being on Disney
Black
Channel.
Hole
all
with
the
Ernest
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Borgnine.
Yeah.
It came out after Star Wars. And
That was 79.
Terrible effects.
With me, and maybe not with you, Justin, but with those other two, I'm a little bit older than them. So when I saw it initially, I think if memory serves me right, it came out in 85.
Yep.
I'm 13 years old. I'm roughly close to the age of Mitch in that movie. And he's this little genius that's been shunned by his, friends, people at school and stuff. And he's trying to find a place to fit in. And he fits in with a certain group of people at this place. And I think that's what draws me to movies. That's why I'm surprised they didn't like it, because this is kind of like Animal House to a certain extent.
Yeah, and
It's
guys
not
that
even
come in-
near
you guys-
Animal
you guys
House.
made a great point on that show, and this doesn't have to be the Real Genius talk show, but you guys made a great point on that show about how that differentiated from Revenge of the Nerds. And you talk about it's like, oh, they toned it down because they didn't want to be in this. And let me tell you, which of those two movies actually holds up better today? And I believe you'll say Real Genius.
Real genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I mean,
by far.
yeah, because
But I like Revenge of the Nerds better.
because-
That's also valid.
I
So I
mean-
did just meet Brian Tochi, so yeah.
You met him?
I did, yeah. Actually, I was sitting next to him at the airport. He sat down and we had a conversation all about Ricardo Montalban. It was
Are you
amazing.
Oh, there you go.
stalking him, or
No, he sat down right next to me. I was reading a book.
that is pretty cool?
I would say this, though. Revenge of the Nerds, that's one of the movies that Ted's opinion of the movie changed my opinion a little bit of the movie. I
He did
usually
not
don't
like
change
that
it
movie.
for the bad. Usually, you'll change my thoughts to make the movie better for me, right? But this was the one movie out of all the movies that we did where I actually lowered my grade as we were talking about it, because of all the problems that Revenge of the Nerds now have.
yeah,
A little bit.
I like the sequels because I
problematic.
like the characters. It's not high art. It's not great,
No.
and it's incredibly problematic. So it's like, yeah, like all that. I love Booger. I think he's great.
I like the third one a little bit, actually.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you
Nerds
can
in
like
Love
the
is kind of
characters.
bad. Nerds is not
You
good.
don't have
but
to like Louis Skolnick. That kind of brings me on to, I know you're going to be covering another movie next and all that. Ken, I know who the better actor is here, but whose films do you enjoy more, John Cusack or Jimmy Stewart?
Jimmy Stewart. By
Really?
far.
That was a fast answer, too.
Jimmy Stewart is going to be a go-to on anything. You got to use a different actor.
Jimmy Stewart or Charles Durning?
Do John Cusack or Charles Durning.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a little fairer.
I
Yeah.
really love him in the Muppet movie, but
Well, Jimmy Stewart is my favorite actor of all time,
Mhm.
by far. It would be him.
I thought it
Vincent
was going to give
Price.
you a run for your money, man, because how many times have you watched a John Cusack film,
I like John Cusack a lot. He's probably, I would put him, he would be at least in my top 20 actors of all time.
I mean, the way you talk about it, I thought it'd be top 5. But
It's funny you say that, because I dated this girl in the 90s, and she probably felt the same way, because as a gift, she got me a magazine with John Cusack on the cover of it.
Was it a
and it was a
Teen
whole
Bop?
article.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
That's
No,
not
it was-
that's not a good indicator.
It was a series. It was like a Rolling Stones type of magazine. I like John Cusack. He's somewhat of a dick.
That's what I've heard. Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven
Well, they were
man.
suited for each
or
other.
David Schwimmer.
I
I don't know enough about
enjoy
it.
Schwimmer's work, so that's fine. Are there
Yeah, they're all
actors like
friends.
those guys? Because obviously we go back to the whole no John Wayne policy and all that. Are there actors you guys don't want to touch? Because personally, I don't like Chris O'Donnell. I think he's an absolute hack. So I would be like, I am not doing the Bachelor with Chris O'Donnell.
There's
Okay.
nothing off limits for me.
We're gonna do John Wayne. We're gonna do it.
You should do something
We're gonna do it.
like Rio Bravo. Where it's like he's there, but it's really like this is Dean Martin's movie. Or you do, was it the Sons of Katie
Hellfighters.
Eldon?
Hellfighters.
You
The
could do
man who shot
Hellfighters.
Liberty Valance.
Yeah,
Cow-
that's
the-
a great one.
Jimmy Stewart.
One of the greatest, the Cowboys. Bruce
Because
Dern
John
is
Wayne dies in it.
Bruce Dern is a hero,
Just
I mean-
like in Django. Oh wait,
right? As
nope.
as long as we don't do the Green Berets, I'm
Dun,
fine.
dun, dun,
I'm
dun,
a big
dun,
fan
dun,
of
dun.
the movie The Quiet Man. It's something that I watch every year on or around St. Patrick's Day. So it's like that would be my suggestion. And I know you don't like him and all that, and there's different reasons, but I think it's a sweet movie with him and Maureen O'Hara. It's actually easy to find, unlike if you're looking for Only the Lonely with Maureen O'Hara, which you can't find. You know,
That's a fun movie. I
Yeah.
like that movie with John Candy and Ali Sheedy.
I've been on
I-
a John Candy kick. So
Yeah, well,
That
yeah,
new
'cause
documentary I'm looking forward to.
the
Yeah,
documentary's
the 10th
coming
of
out.
October.
I joke somewhat about the John Wayne thing. My biggest thing with John Wayne is
No.
idolatry.
No.
the idolatry of him.
Don't get him started. He will go 20
Can't.
minutes about his hatred of John Wayne.
I
Don't.
don't see it. But as far as like having somebody off limits, no, not really. I mean, I'll watch a John Wayne movie if I have to. I'll be honest when we review the movie that that he's
Yeah.
playing John Wayne.
But
Just like-
there's no actor that we feel that there's really off limits. You can't look at an actor, kind of like a baseball player or a football player. Don't put them on a pedestal as your idol because they're going to let you down. Same with an
Simpson.
actor. Yeah,
Well, that's
same
what I was
with
just gonna
yeah,
say. You're gonna
so-
cover O.J. Simpson's acting career. So, Naked
Well,
Gun
it's-
1, 2, and 3.
I mean, it was like
no. There's a few other ones.
Yeah, he
We've
hosted
discussed-
SNL 3 times.
We've discussed Kevin Spacey
Yep,
Yeah,
I was just
quite a
about to say
bit
that.
about to do
We
Kevin
have not
Spacey
touched him
movies.
yet.
He's an excellent actor. I mean,
He's
Incredible
an
actor, you know.
amazing actor.
Yes, he
except
is.
for K-Pax, that was garbage. But
I've never seen that.
yeah, don't waste your
Yeah,
time.
Can't all be gems.
Yeah.
We have done the ref though.
The
we
Ref
have done the
was
Ref.
We did the
awesome. That was
Ref,
a great
yeah.
episode
We did
too,
the
guys.
Ref.
Christmas movie, yeah.
I have a list of 10 movies here I picked, and I'm going to ask you a couple questions about these. We'll see how they go. This is not my list of top 10, but it may have some crossover, so there'll be some little tidbits for you, some little Ken's tidbits here. And
Do
do have some questions, I'm going to
Yes,
start out by
as
pulling my
usual.
punches. The Goonies was a
Mm.
favorite episode of your fan base. Let me ask you this. Ted, what part of the Goonies hits hardest in terms of childhood nostalgia? The
Don't
friendship,
cry.
the adventure, or just the chaos?
So there's two movies that we've covered that I was excited to cover.
But he's asking you about the Goonies.
He's going to get it.
Okay.
If you're a longtime listener, you knew this was coming.
Yeah,
We got hate mail on this one from you, guys of you too.
yeah, I know.
Well, one of them was from me. But the question was, what part of the Goonies hits hardest in terms of childhood nostalgia? The friendship, the adventure, or just the chaos? What I'm looking for is
The
you don't have to
actors.
go through how you felt about the movie.
The
Are there
actors.
parts of the movie? The actors. Okay.
Yeah, because you look at those actors, and 3 out of the 4 of them, and the other one now, I believe, isn't he he's a super agent now, isn't he?
Yeah, Jeff. I forget
Yeah,
his last name. He's an agent and attorney for them. So
But
Chunk,
Sean Astin is, I
president
mean,
of SAG.
and of course, Corey Feldman, he was the 80s. I mean, as far as you were a kid. And then Short Round.
Won the Academy Award.
He won an Academy Award for a great movie.
Short
So yeah,
Round.
it would be well, he's always going to be Short Round.
Hey, Dr. Jones.
Yeah. No Time for Love, Dr. Jones. So yeah, it would be the actors of that
The
movie
actors. Robert
Because-
Davi and Joey Pants.
because the movie just didn't hold up for me for some reason. And if I'm going back to that era for a movie like that, I prefer Stand By Me.
And I mean, another Richard Dreyfuss movie, so I'm not surprised
And
for this
Stephen-
podcast.
Let's be honest, it's a Stephen King movie.
It's a Corey Feldman movie, so you really must really like Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Let me shift here on this. I've got a question for Eric. From a script and pacing perspective, does The Goonies feel like a Spielberg film or a Donner film? There's no helicopters that I recall, so
Neither.
yeah, I kind
No,
of
it really doesn't.
I would go like it
If
seems
you-
like they
if
cut
you
a lot
would've
of the
told
parts
me
out that are Spielberg.
If I would have saw that movie for the first time now, because in 1985 I was 10 and I didn't even know what directors were, and you would have told me that it was some other director, I would have believed you. If you would have told me, hey, it's Spielberg, hey, it's Donner, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. No, I know it doesn't feel like either one of them.
Spielberg.
you think more Spielberg than Donner?
Yeah, and I base it off of things like E.T. Just there's a little of E.T. in there with the kids.
The music,
And the ventures, I mean, you just have to go back to Indiana Jones and stuff like that. It's kind of a mesh of those type of movies.
Not even asking if the movie holds up or anything else like that. Just literally how it was made, how it made you feel, stuff like that. So
It holds up. Their inner child's dead. So
He's right. My inner child died.
that's
My inner
Tragic-
child-
tragic
my inner-
combine
I'm gonna
accident.
go back a little bit further because this is the film that when I talked to Ken, he said this is the first film we're going to do, the first film we're going to cover. That ended up being Almost Famous, but originally it was going to be Flash Gordon. So,
Yes.
Ken, if this were made today, would it be embraced as an art house sci-fi or a camp disaster? Like, would it be like a Roger Waters production? Like, what would Flash Gordon be today? Or would it be a Marvel production?
I
Like,
would
how-
love to see Roger Waters' version of
No,
Flash
not
Gordon.
Roger Waters. John Waters.
John
John
Waters.
Waters.
Yeah, John Waters.
if it was made today, I think it would be too souped up. It would be too much in the. You have to choose if it's going to look more like DC or if it's going to look like Marvel.
Okay,
So
so it would have
that's-
to have a tonality or anything
Yeah.
like
yeah,
that.
I think
so-
that's where they would go. I don't think they would do the tongue in cheek that we get in 1980, which I appreciate this film being made then, and I appreciate the fact that they haven't remade it.
Well, Brian Blessed is still around, so there's still time.
The
Death
only
to Ming.
the Death to Ming. The only director I think that could redo it and be true to the feeling of it would be James Gunn, who did the
Yeah, because I was thinking
Guardians of the
Peacemaker
Galaxy
when he said
movies.
that. And this will be just for any of you. Is the campy tone masking a serious theme, or is it all just surface level for this film?
for Flash.
Surface level.
I
yeah.
agree with that.
I don't think that there's any deep.
It's
There's
not
no
Dune,
Yeah,
No,
no, it's not Dune. It's not even Star Wars. It's just it's a fun time. I think it fits perfectly with what it was meant to be. It was supposed to feel like that Saturday afternoon cereal that you would go to in the 30s and 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
It's more true to the
told
comic
off
book.
the
Yeah.
comic strip, right?
Yeah.
For me, I never mentioned this when we were watching it, but it just kind of popped in my head. Kind of has a disco theme to it.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Very much
being
so.
1980, kind of has that
Kinda
disco
like
theme.
Xanadu.
Just
Yeah.
a little bit.
It's more like Buck Rogers, the TV show.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Very Kiss disco.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, I get
Kisco.
that. But I like it because it's got better
Kisco.
music. So, Eric, my next question is for you. This is on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. What does Roy's decision to leave his family say about the price of wonder and obsession? Because I know you guys talked vigorously about like that, and is he going to leave his family and why he would do that? So, I was kind of curious about what your take on Roy as a character. And yes, this is another Richard Dreyfuss question.
And a great Richard Dreyfuss role. A really good question.
Also Terry Garr.
Also Terry Garr.
Also Terry Garr.
Also
So I
Terry
told you
Garr.
something about
Yes.
that.
Doesn't get any better than that. I feel his obsession with the UFO, with Devil's Tower, with getting there, with finding the truth, finding the answer, everything just kind of popped for him. And I think Terry Garr's character kind of not believing him, and he did go insane, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
And she left him. I get it. Any probably normal wife would do that after what he did in their family room. And the fact that he aligns with, and I'm drawing a blank on her name right now, and she just died a couple of years ago. The other girl who he aligned with, she had the vision with him. Barry's mom. I'm totally drawing a blank on her name, but I think them falling in love for this common vision was just one other romantic side of the movie. There were so many facets of this movie that all came together. Come on, it's like one of the perfect movies of all time.
I do think it's a really complex everything altogether.
Huge.
Just like-
It's a very complex movie.
Very deep.
And how could you not think that Schindler's List is his most personal, or The Fabelmans is his most personal? I'm like, I really disagree. I feel like those are way more personal than Close Encounter. But...
Schindler's List is probably one of the greatest movies of all time, but it is a very hard watch.
It's a
That's
super hard.
watcher.
That might be one that I would not want to do in this podcast.
It's
can
I
see
agree
that.
with that.
Now
It-
that you say that,
it's
that would
brutal.
be one that I'd be like, you know what? No, I don't
Yeah,
think.
'cause
I don't think I could
why would
touch
you want
that
to do a
one.
downer? You know.
There's
Not even a
one in-
downer. That movie is just. It's. I couldn't give it any justice.
Plus,
It's
I think there's movies that are one and done. For me, Schindler's List is one of those because for me, it's not entertainment. It's that one time that I watched it and I was moved by it. I'm not going to be moved again the same way that I did when I first saw it. And then on top of that, why am I going back to it? Do I love the Holocaust? I mean, what's the point for me to go back? It's the same thing with the Passion of the Christ for me too.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the
agree
Passion
with
of the
you.
Christ, but will never go back to watch the Passion of the
They're
Christ
such
again.
powerful movies.
And then they just don't need to come back. Just don't need to be revisited again.
I'm weird in the fact that I do rewatch Schindler's List.
Every year.
No, good
Rooting
God,
for the
no.
Nazis.
Good God, no. Because I feel that I have to make sure that I remember that it's real. And I think that movie is so powerful. It's probably, in my opinion, one of the most powerful movies I've ever watched.
Ted, I honestly don't think you could get through a podcast watching that movie.
It would be very hard.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could. It's a very, very powerful and
There'd
tough
be
movie.
tears. Because that movie hits me on so many levels that it's something that I grapple with.
Yeah, we all agree
And-
it's a powerful and wonderful movie,
Yeah.
but I think we're gonna
Absolutely.
take a pass on that one.
My next question is on The Princess Bride. Ted, this is for you. What is your favorite quote, and do you remember the first time that you heard that?
Oh, what's my favorite quote? There's so many from that movie that I love. My favorite quote is probably, "You never start a land war in Asia." I mean, that Wallace,
In Greenland!
he is so great in that movie. And yeah, I remember the first time I saw it. My grandmother took me to see it in the movie theater.
Oh, nice.
I had posted a couple years ago on Facebook the Mark Knopfler video, and it came up in my memories, and I watched the music video again. There's something about that movie that, to me, it blends the fantasy and reality kind of perfectly, in my opinion. I think it's one of those few movies that's almost close to perfect.
And this will be
Yes.
a question for the three of you. Do you think it holds up on the same level or a similar level as The Wizard of Oz?
Yes, in my opinion, yes. I will watch that movie a couple times a year because I absolutely adore it. Every aspect of that movie.
It's
There's
very
not
cool.
one character that I don't like in that movie. It makes me happy. I was shocked that it didn't get as many listens that I thought it was going to get.
Interesting.
I think The Wizard of Oz is a creepy movie.
You think it's creepy? Okay. Well, then.
Yeah.
then would
Yeah.
you say then you like Princess Bride
Oh
better?
yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I think it holds up 1,000 times more because generally, when I watch movies and we discuss these movies, I'm always in the back of my mind, and I've had this conversation with Ken. Are we doing this because we want to do this, or are we doing this because of the hits? Because
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is familiar with X movie, or I don't think anyone's seen this movie, or I think this movie is completely out of date and no one watches it. Everyone knows The Wizard of Oz, but I don't think many people of our age group, short of our parents and grandparents, have really sat down and watched it, unless they've got Dark Side of the Moon pinned to the beginning of it. Other than that,
I've done that.
I'm
Looking
sure
at
you
you, Ted.
have.
I've done that more than once.
That's right, Spicoli. I know you have. So I think, yes, obviously, everyone's watched Princess Bride. I mean, it's universal family fun. It holds up, and it's a great movie.
I'm going to disagree with Eric on this as far as the Wizard of Oz goes, because Wizard of Oz was still at a time where you see one movie every year.
Yeah.
Now you have access to these movies at any time you want. But back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, Wizard of Oz coming once a year was
When it would
a
show
big
up
deal.
around Easter, I
It
think.
was an
You would-
event.
It was an
like
event,
the Ten
and
Commandments was on every
you
year
would watch
like
it.
that.
you
And
would
It's a
watch it at
Wonderful
that
Life.
particular time.
I distinctly remember, Ken, when my mom and dad made a huge deal on when it first came on VHS because they refused to put it on VHS.
Yes, and you've just answered my question. Your parents. Yeah, you've
Well,
answered
but
my
it was a big
question.
deal
That's the
for
thing
me
is our-
too.
our parents introduced us to those movies, to that movie. It was one of those movies where you watched it with your
But we
parents.
are movie nuts. And that's what I was getting at.
Yep.
Is a majority of people out there, especially now with everything on demand, are not movie nuts.
So, for instance, Las Vegas, The Sphere. What movie's playing there?
Yes.
And what is the only movie that's
was
playing
Wizard
there?
of Oz. Yeah, they did a
Yeah.
4D experience in the Sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's supposedly amazing.
I'm planning on going to see if it's still there in January.
I've heard rumors that there's a possibility for Star Wars.
The original?
Yes.
Now, Eric, do you own Princess Bride on Laserdisc?
It's a very good
Ooh,
question.
Good question.
It is a good question. I do have Wizard of Oz on VHS, but Princess
He
Bride
secretly
I have
loves it.
on... No, it was given to me. DVD, I do not have it on Laserdisc.
Okay. All right. So
I know.
we've got a goal.
That's a good hit there.
See,
That would
told
be a
you there'd
good
be deep
laser
cuts.
disc.
He really is listening. Yeah.
My next question is about Casablanca, and you've kind of gone over this a little bit, Eric, and I'm gonna pinpoint on you because you were the one that really deep dove into this. Is Rick's transformation more about politics, love, or personal redemption?
I think early on it was politics. It morphed into love, and then it was personal redemption.
So all three, and then
I think all three.
Okay.
Now Ken would probably have a different perspective since it is his favorite movie of all time.
I disagree with the order.
Shocking.
I think,
What do you
it
think?
starts off. I think it starts off with love.
Before she
the
shows
movies-
up, though.
Well, he's always
He's
in
playing.
love with
He's
her.
playing the political game before she shows up.
He is playing the businessman game before he shows up. He's not into politics. He's not into anything other than laying low and running a club. He doesn't
Because of the
care
politics,
about-
he has to lay low.
So he
Well,
loves
yeah.
himself, is what he's saying, right?
I wouldn't
Looking out
say
for
he
himself.
loves himself. In fact, I don't think he has a high opinion of himself. I believe she brings out the best in him.
It reminds him of
So-
a time when he did care.
Right.
Yeah. And I think she makes him want to have that redemption, to have that, I'm going to go fight for what's right. I think, and that all starts off from the love.
Ken, you were right on the cusp of one of the great lines in Jack Nicholson's career. You make me want to be a better man. She does.
The movie
make
where
him-
he plays himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you be
Yeah.
more specific?
Rick is one of the great characters in movie history. And I agree with both Eric and Ken, ironically enough, because I can see it both ways. And I think that's what makes the movie as great as it is because it's really how you perceive him. And not very many characters in movie history can you actually sit and have that experience.
And see the evolution of the character.
Right. And you can sit with 5 different people and all 5 could have a different opinion.
I think what works for his character also is Claude Rains' character kind of going along with and noticing the changes.
Mhm.
He's saying out throughout the film, this is a first.
Right.
He never sits with his patrons, right? And so when he sits down with Bergman and forget the other actor's name off the top of my
Henry.
head, he just notices things about him, that if he knew that this was going to be, he would never have made that bet with Rick at the beginning of the film.
Right.
And that's what I like about the film too. It's not just for Humphrey Bogart. Claude Rains for me is 1 or 2 for me on the all-time character actor. He allows us to kind of be in his shoes to kind of go along in the journey of Rick. Us and Claude Rains' character were both kind of eyewitnesses to what's going on with Rick. And that's why I love the movie so much, is because it lets you be part of it in some way.
So he's the everyman perspective that you have.
Exactly.
Now, I promised you deep cuts. I've got a deep cut. State and Maine, right?
Yeah.
On this one, and this is probably a question for Ted here. Does Mammoth's direction feel restrained here compared to his stage work, or more cinematic? Or do you think it's on par?
And you've only seen that movie once or twice, haven't you, Ted?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the first. That was one of the
Yeah.
first. That was a first timer. I think that Mamet coming to the film was actually kind of seamless in this movie because he brings the stage to life in the movie setting. If you kind of understand what I mean, because it still feels like a play, but instead of the stage ending at the back, everything is now a stage.
Like the pothole and the 2 old men in
Right.
the restaurant.
And there's so much depth that has that I would never have thought, because I mean, Mamet's he's one of the great auteurs of the 20th century as far as the stage goes as well. To come and make a movie like that where you feel like it's like Death of a Salesman came to life in front of you. It's an amazing feat. That's why I thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
It seemed like you all liked the film
Oh,
too.
yeah.
You
It's a great movie.
recall it fondly.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies, and it was the movie I picked.
Yeah, that was a Ken pick.
One of the things that I will say now that we've talked about it like this, now that Ted and you have brought it up, the problem I had with some of that movie was the acting. But now that I think about it, it sounds like stage acting.
Mm-hmm.
So, there were some characters there that kind of sounded like something I would hear off a stage, but not necessarily a movie. But the problem with that is you had some characters who are movie actors and some that are stage. So it kind of, if I had one problem with the movie, is it kind of shifts between the two.
I think it's intentional. I think it was an intentional choice to make it sound like a stage. Yeah.
I'm okay with that if everybody sounded like they were part of a play, but not every actor came across as being like Philip Seymour Hoffman came off being more of a movie actor, whereas like I forget her name, the one that plays his, the girl that he ends up with, the way she delivers the lines sounded more like from a stage. And granted, she was going to have her own play done at the school, but everybody chose to be in the movie instead. But even the extras sounded like they were on a stage.
It would take
an incredibly meta film.
It would take somebody like Mamet to do my favorite play of all time, which is Our Town.
Annie?
Because I don't think that Our Town would translate to the movie theater without somebody like a Mamet taking it there.
Next film is one that I really liked, Galaxy Quest. I wanted to ask you guys this one. Ken, how does this film succeed as both a parody and an homage that's homage without undercutting either? I say that because you say homage like 6 times in the episode.
I think the reason why it works the way it does is because I think it really takes account of the fan, the fan's perspective. It's almost a fan film. You have the love, but you also want to show kind of like the mingling between the actors and the problems that they may have. And so you balance the comedy out with real life like issues, like what was Shatner and, maybe George Takei, how they were not getting along. You use that in this film, but then you throw a comic aspect in it to balance it all out. It's one of the few films that really does an amazing job of that balancing act, where you take it both seriously and you're laughing at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those weird films that does that. And when they did the poll about favorite Star Trek movies of all time, Galaxy Quest showed up in the rankings. I joke around that it's my 4th favorite Star Trek movie of all time.
David Mamet did say at the beginning of the Galaxy Quest documentary that it's one of the 5 perfect films. So that's why I followed that up from State and Maine. Is there a character arc that surprised you the most in this movie? And that's for any of you. Any of the characters, if you think of this, any that surprised you.
For Galaxy Quest.
What do you mean by surprised? Good, bad?
Yeah, just like I didn't think they'd go there, or anything else kind of about the film. You got Alan Rickman, you've got Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell. You've got kind of like a powerhouse cast here. Everybody's kind of competing for screen time. Sigourney Weaver's there. Tim Allen is trying to make his due.
I mean, he's obviously the Shatner character. Clearly,
he's definitely the Shatner.
Clearly,
character. Yeah.
I think Sam Rockwell's character, I think, is the most interesting of the whole thing, because I think the other ones are kind of, I wouldn't say paint by numbers, but you kind of know Tim Allen and Alan Rickman's characters are going to be friends.
The Kirk and Spock sort of character.
Yeah, because they start off fighting each other, but he's the odd man out. He's not part of the original cast
because he's killed off, right? Isn't he?
Because he's killed off, and he's so worried about being killed off throughout the whole movie because he's just glorified extra. But maybe he's the plucky comic relief, right? I think his character is the one that really kind of drives the movie. His character could have been so annoying, but
Same with
Rockwell
Wong's character. You know,
He could have been a Jar Jar
Yeah.
Binks.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you throw a character that doesn't really belong with the rest of them, and sometimes that's forced. And it's not forced with Sam Rockwell's character. I love his name, Guy.
Yeah.
Guy, yeah.
Guy.
He's
Hey,
just
Guy.
a guy.
Guy,
Yeah.
You know, no
I'm
last
just a
name.
guy. I don't
He's
have
like,
a
"You have
last
a last
name.
name? Do I? You know,
Right.
what's my last name? Nobody knows what his last name is.
that's fantastic.
The thing that was the most pleasant for me about that movie was Tim Allen. I was surprised that
You did not want to like him in the episode.
no, because he's Tim Allen, and I just don't think that he has much range. But he actually
Ted's not
shows,
a Tim Allen fan.
No,
I
because
listened to the Santa
he's
Claus episode. I know.
he's always Tim the Toolman Taylor, and in this movie he's not. And I thought that he brought a lot to that character. And I thought that character arc was actually really well, and it mimicked in a lot of ways Shatner. I thought that it was very close to the nose on that.
That's cool. I'm gonna move on to an older film. I already mentioned one of your favorite films, Eric. Now I've got another one here from 1975's Jaws. Who grows more in the film, Brody,
Jaws.
Hooper, or Quint? And what does this say about heroism? You know, for these characters that they're your point of view characters.
Who grows more?
Yeah, and I'm feeling it's not Quint.
It's Jaws. Yeah, it's Jaws.
It's
You forgot
I
the
don't
Jaws.
know if
You
it's
forgot
really
Bruce.
like a
It's
character
Bruce.
story where people
Yeah.
grow as people, but I don't know. What's
Just
your thought
kids.
on that?
The thing about Jaws is the character power play, if you will, on the boat is the gist of this movie. When you have all three of them isolated on the boat, that's where they grow. That's where you have each one of their personalities come out. They come together at the USS Indianapolis speech.
Oh yeah.
And after that speech, that's when they really start to work together as a team. I love that movie so much because you don't see the shark for the first 50 minutes.
Yeah,
It's
great.
and if you ever watch the documentary, and I know we're at the 50th anniversary of Jaws, there's like 1,600 documentaries out there, but if you just listen to or just watch how that movie came about and how it almost did not come about, the special effects in that movie, in my opinion, are great. And I'll throw my wife under the bus here. She's in the other room. She hates Jaws. I made her go to the movie. Yeah, I made her go to the movie and watch it. She hated it. But I love the movie special effects because they're not CG. That's what's so great about it.
Mhm.
Nothing is CG. Everything in that movie, the fish is not working. The fish, everything about that movie is real. There are no special effects. It is all real, live. You're dealing with the problems and the issues of it, and the movie comes together, and it is great.
Do
So
you
I probably
believe
didn't answer your question, but
do you believe that Mrs. Kittner that's her actual son? Or is she just way too old to have a son that young?
who are you? You know what? Here's the funny thing. So when you talk about actors in the 1970s, if you read the 60s and 70s, if you really watch some of these movies and you look at their actual age, people in their 20s look like they're in their 40s.
Oh, yeah.
And people in their 40s look like they're in their 70s.
Look
Yeah.
at
So-
an 80s movie and look at the people in high school and you're like, that looks like a 40-year-old man. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's all the smoking and all the drinking that just
Yeah,
really
probably.
ages those actors. But yes, it
But
doesn't.
we get Chris Penn in Footloose, right?
Right. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, the Kidner boy, you gotta love it.
it's like All in the Family. They were in their late 50s,
Yeah.
early 50s, but they look like they were like
Right.
70 years old, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, WKRP in Cincinnati. Gordon Jump was in his mid 40s when he made that
I
movie,
know, right?
and he looked like he was 68 or something,
he looked like
mid
yeah.
40s.
Look at
Come
Harvey
on.
Korman,
Yeah.
how he looked.
Oh yeah.
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 I mean, it's just the era. So
It's
yes, to answer
excellent.
your question, that could definitely be his mom,
Okay. All right. Good. That's it.
but
So
not
the next
if it was remade today.
is going to be for Ted. It's about Animal House. So, and this is I've got
Animal
two
House.
left. There's Animal House. Do you think Animal House is more fun to watch now, or was it more impactful the first time you saw it? Like, does it get better on each subsequent watch for you? Because I know you're an unapologetic Belushi nut.
Yeah, I love Belushi. Yeah, I mean, I remember the first time I saw it because it was like one of those forbidden things that you shouldn't watch and everything like that. Now, you'll never recreate that, but I love that movie, and I don't know if it gets
Was that
better.
a 5-hooker?
I don't know if it gets better every time, but my enjoyment of it is equally the same. I think that it's one of those movies that it hits me comedically right where it should. And because I love the Lampoon. I think the Lampoon I love that sense of humor. And here again, it's the characters. The characters make that movie so endearing. It could just all fall flat, but the characters are so good and written so well that it makes it enjoyable.
I thought you were pre-med. Pre-med.
Yeah.
Pre-law.
And
What's
see,
the
Justin, you answered the question right there. I'll give you my quick 2 bits on it. That movie gets better every time I watch it because I know all the lines.
Yeah.
And I see them coming, and I love just doing exactly what you did. The movie doesn't get old for me. I love it every time. It is a better watch every time I watch it.
Nice.
Yeah,
I kind of felt that way listening to you guys talk about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I was just enjoying the hell out of that whole episode. I loved it. It was so fun.
Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Right.
No.
Germans? Forget it. He's rolling.
I would say I love that movie, Animal House, but if we think about it in the same way that we think about Revenge of the Nerds,
here we go.
It does. It has similar problems, but we look over it because it's a better movie. It's a funnier movie, so we skip the fact that he's peeping into a girl's bedroom to look at her nude. But we have a problem with that in Revenge of the Nerds. It's a problem. I mean, they do it.
We have.
They put a whole camera system in there. It's a whole different.
Well, if we're comparing
apples to
a version.
Bad behavior is bad behavior. I'm just saying. It's like if you want to split hairs about it, that's fine. But
yes.
If we're comparing apples to apples about what's wrong with those two movies together, it's the fact that she's 13.
God, yeah. Well, I mean, and you guys were just talking about American Graffiti the other day too. So
each one of them has their own issues, but you know what? In the end,
one's funny and one's not.
No. That's. Yeah. I don't know if the scene itself is funny, but the scene around it, like at the end, what's his name? The man who molested me, he's like,
Right.
But you got the devil on one side, you got the angel on the other side.
Yes. That's comedy.
I remember.
That's comedy. Yes.
But when you get to the end of the film and you find out that she's underage, then you're like, oh, shit.
Not just underage.
But
that's
way underage. It's that was a funny scenario that they found themselves in, and it's like, they knew they did wrong. The last one to cover is Young Frankenstein from 1974.
Good high note. Okay.
This will be a question for Ken. How does Young Frankenstein balance the spooky atmosphere with a laugh out loud moments, and which moment always gets you?
Called Mel Brooks.
So I think this is one of those where Mel Brooks' love for old horror films, I think, comes out. This is not just a guy who's about comedy. This is a guy who makes just good movies. I think it's similar to Galaxy Quest. It just knows when to pay homage to the original source, the original movies, but then throw your own little bit of humor in there, because it does a really good job of recognizing the film. When the first time they see the laboratory, they play like a recording of what the original movie could have been. Right there, it sets you back to the 1930s and the Frankenstein movie.
So the authenticness of it is, and that kind of goes to what Eric was saying about with Jaws, where it's like you thought you were really, in peril or in suspense, because everything looks so real.
Yeah, and I think that's what this movie and Galaxy Quest does too, is they make you buy into what the film is presenting, and then they throw in that comedy aspect of it. As far as one bit that always gets me every time, I think there's two of them actually that I like very much. It's the one where they're looking at the heads that have aged, and then you get to Marty Feldman at the end, and he scares them. I love that. And then the other one is when they're walking up the staircase and she's got the candle
Mm-hmm.
but they're not lit. And she says, stay close to the candles. It might be
Stay close.
treacherous. It's just stuff like that. It's just fun little things here. It feels like they're not even trying to be funny, and it just
Natural.
It just happens. It
You
just
know.
happens.
Wow,
love the
what
callbacks.
knockers, you know.
There were knockers.
Terry
yeah.
Garr again. We have another Terry Garr movie.
Oh,
Yes.
Right.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
That's
I love
I'm
the
going to end here with
Yeah.
my top 10 list. And it doesn't have to be in any particular order, but I just kind of want to give you guys a list of the episodes that I pulled out of all of them that are my favorite. Most recently, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Love that episode. So funny to listen to, just like everything. Just like I was laughing around in the car, quoting it back with you. I thought it was great. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Love the episode. Great episode. So awesome. This one's a little self-serving, but Do the Right Thing. I think that was a great episode. I think that there was a lot in that we really covered and everything. I thought it was cool, and to get a chance to like deep dive into the movie, I thought it was great. White Christmas was so good, it made me have to go out and buy the movie and watch it. It was great. And I didn't just watch it, like we watched it with like our 90-year-old grandmother. Like it was awesome. And that to me is like I'll probably listen to that one again around Christmas. Like I loved it. This will surprise you. This is a tie between broadcast news and Defending Your Life, the Albert Brooks section that you did. I thought those were fantastic. Just covering both of them, the intelligence of the humor, the way that they dealt with all those complex relationships, and then just like how broadcast news ends, and it's sad. It's so friggin' sad.
It is.
And then Defending Your Life. I'd never heard of this movie, and it's Meryl Streep's in this movie with Albert
Mhm.
Brooks. What the hell is this? It was so fun, and it was just like a delightful listen. I really loved it. So, and this one I think is one of the absolute best episodes that you guys did was Love Actually, and I know I've said that to Ken before.
It's one of
guys did a
Ken's favorites,
fantastic
too.
job on it. Such a great episode. I really really like it. I would say go back and listen to that one. Next one is one of Ted's favorites, Pulp Fiction. It was great episode, and I mean, just getting to talk about like the soundtrack and how everything kind of moved and how everything went, and it was just a cool episode, and I think that you guys really did the movie justice with the episode and just with your coverage. I liked it a lot. No surprise, next is Young Frankenstein. Great episode.
That's
Loved
neat.
it. Listened to it multiple times. It's always funny. Most of these are clearly comedies that I loved. Next one's going to piss Eric off a little bit. I think Full Metal Jacket is an excellent episode that you guys did. And quite specifically, what I'm going to call out on this is a lot of the historical things that Ted was pointing out during it, and kind of give you that backstory. You did a similar really good job with JFK. It's just I go back to this one because I just like this movie a little bit better. But yeah, I'll say Full Metal Jacket. And my number one favorite episode ever is The Princess Bride. I think that is the best. If anybody was to ask me, besides Almost Famous, what is the episode you should listen to get a good idea of this show and all that, I'm going Princess Bride.
Good list.
It's a great list.
I would say this just because I want to throw this in before we wrap everything up. There's a couple movies that we've done where I didn't like the movie, but I loved our episode, and it made me actually go back and think about it more. Is the Blair Witch Project.
I was
Nice.
going to say, that's what I was going to say.
That was one of those episodes where I'm like, this movie blows. I remember seeing this movie in the theater and going, what the hell am I watching here? But then we had a discussion about what this film was and what it possibly could be.
What it
Could
led
the
to.
guys
Yeah.
have murdered her? Could they
Yeah.
have set it up and for her own demise? I mean, there's just so many levels we were able to get out of this movie. I don't know if it's really that deep, but we made it deep somehow.
That just
And,
hit 25 years too, I think. So
I
Yeah,
think so.
I
I think it was 99, yeah.
and
Was it 99?
9 or 2000, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good one. The Full Metal Jacket one is hard for me to listen to because that's one of those episodes that Ken and I got into it, and it went a little bit farther than what I thought. And listening back to it, I thought I got a little bit too harsh. But
No, usually it's
I
too harsh. But
You can get over passionate about something.
yeah. I'm
Take
glad
it
you
too
didn't bring
seriously.
up Diggstown, mention Diggstown, because that was an insane.
I think
that was
I
an
think
insane
there's
episode
there's
to
a lot
do.
of fun things about that episode, and like specifically talking about the actors that are in it and all that. So, but it just doesn't make the top 10. You know.
No, yeah, but that's the one that we had to pause and walk away and come back and start the episode again.
Do you have a favorite, like an unsung
Favorite?
hero, kind of
Oh,
like Blair
wow.
Witch?
2001.
Okay.
Because I appreciated how Ken came around and through that movie. A movie that he really reluctantly did, but knew how much that I loved it, and came around to not only make the episode great, but actually brought a perspective that I had never thought about before. And like I said, I think towards the beginning of the podcast, I appreciate Eric bringing movies to me that I would never have watched.
Mhm.
And opening my eyes to look at some things that I wouldn't have looked at before.
Well, I got to pass that along to you with 2001 too. When I saw that movie years ago, I was like, yeah, this is pretty messed up, whatever. But now it's one of my favorite movies to watch on 4K.
Really,
It is incredible
seems
to be
on
the-
4K.
the connective thread here, though. Yeah.
There are
Wow.
some, like for example, Close Encounters of the Third Kind on 4K is a train wreck. The
Yeah.
colors on the spaceship they just bleed over the whole screen. So you got to kind of be careful on the older movies when you look at a 4K
You
restoration.
said Invasion of the Body Snatchers looked good, right?
It did. Yeah,
Mhm.
I have that
Yeah.
on 4K. That one looks
Another
good.
great episode. Honestly, that would
Yes.
be top 15.
But 2001, I mean, that movie, it really is an incredible movie, and I appreciate it a lot more every time I watch it, especially on 4K.
Nice. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun for me because I've got to kind of go through and relive a lot of these episodes. I got to ask some deep cuts here. What's next, guys? What's going to be the next? I mean, I already know the answer because Ken's already told me. But like, what's next? And then you can get into your valedictions here of like where people can find you and all that. But
Are we
What's
going
coming
on ice? Isn't it going to be our podcast on ice?
is it?
Huh?
Ice? No, we're not deporting
I'm
anybody.
not dead yet.
No, not that
I
ice.
feel happy.
What I will say is, because I kind of have a direction for what's going on for the rest of the year. So we're going to plan. We've already recorded Happy Gilmore 2. So that's going to be coming out after this podcast. And then we haven't decided yet of our 2 movies for Halloween, but we know one of them is Rocky Horror Picture Show because
Nice.
it's the 50th anniversary. And then in November, it's a salute to 1985. And of course, inviting you, Justin, to be part of the Back to the Future episode. And then we're doing Better Off Dead. And we're also doing The Breakfast Club. And then come Christmas, we haven't decided what our Christmas movie is yet.
I look
And
forward to
then-
hearing what that's going to be. So yeah.
Ken
And
is
I- and I-
Ken is actually dressing up for the Rocky Horror episode. He is going to be Frank Enfurter.
Okay.
So yeah,
Hey, fun fact. Just last week, I went to karaoke and sang Science Fiction Picture
I
Show.
love
Yeah,
that's
so
one of my favorite parts of that movie.
I love it because it's
It's
plays
great.
homage to the older movies, right?
Yeah.
I will say that since Star Wars basically wrapped up this year, a
Ugh.
better sci-fi franchise is coming around the
Oh,
corner.
baby.
Star Trek, baby.
Lord
Star
have
Give it
Trek.
the
mercy.
first one, right?
The Shatner years.
That's awesome. Eric, you usually take this part. Do you want to bring us home here?
No, man, I'm going to let you do it.
All right. Hey, Ken, why don't you tell the people where they can find us?
Well, they can find us anywhere, like on Podbean is one of our go-tos. Spotify, Apple, anywhere that plays podcasts, you should be able to find us there. We have a Facebook page, Twitter page, or X page, X-rated page, I guess you can call it. I don't know. Jump on our Facebook page and interact with us. We love the interaction. And maybe tell us about movies you want us to
Review.
and give us some questions. Maybe some questions. Give us a question about a movie that you want us to do.
Eric, do you want to shout out to any fans, maybe in Sweden?
No, that's
Sweden.
Sweden and
Sweden.
Sweden.
Okay.
Our friends in Austria. Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have on the Hooked on Movie podcast. Thank you for listening to this journey and retrospective of the Hooked on Movie 5 years as a podcast. Until next time, we usually end with a quote. Do you guys have anything you want to say goodbye?
I'm going to go
PC Lobo.
retro. Yeah,
PC
yeah.
load letter. What does that
Oh
mean?
gosh, you had to let him just freestyle just now. Great.
I'm going retro. With my. Do you remember my original line, Justin?
And as always, I'm not wearing any pants.
No, you're close. It's I'm not
Okay.
wearing any pants. Film at 11.
Film at 11.
Film at
Okay.
11.
Yes, but you're right there. Yes.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. But see you next time on Hooked on Movies.